or like hip.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to Triple T's podcast with your host Megan.
I'm Connor Holmes.
I'm Hadley Perriman.
And I'm Anna Kate.
And I'm Avery Hodges.
That's where I thought you might jump into the
Do I?
question.
Oh, I keep going. Okay.
Today we're going to
Well,
talk about,
This week in class. Oh no.
okay. Sorry. I didn't know if I was supposed to. Okay, so this week in class, we talked a lot about social media, especially regarding athletes and how athletes use social media to kind of promote their brand, as well as how teams can also use the use of sponsorships and other stuff to help enhance their brand, which I think is really interesting because I think sponsorships is something really interesting to me because I feel like it really speaks to the athlete and the organization. And I think it's just something that like it really shows where the character of the team is. What are your guys' thoughts?
I definitely agree. I mean, sponsorships are what really draws me into sports and sports business. That's what I'm interested in. And I think especially on the college level with NIL right now and everything, it's a whole new thing because one thing about sponsorships to me that seems important is that the athlete has to match the values of the brand. And so now with that being an opportunity with every player in every college, I feel like it's going to be there'll be a lot of legal issues and like vetting that's going to have to happen in sponsorships now.
I agree. I feel like with the sponsorships, a lot of times, I guess with it being so new, like a lot of times an athlete will be sponsored by a brand that maybe like you can kind of tell that they may not align with that, but I do think it's a cool thing that they can find companies to sponsor them that they do align with. And so it is neat. And I think it does draw a lot of attention, especially if like somebody's a fan of whoever's sponsoring them, that kind of brings them to the athlete and then vice versa. And I think it's just a cool way to enhance both brands. Cause I mean, as athletes, they are considered like a brand, their own brand. And so I just think that's neat. Um that these things are happening, and it is also crazy because there's so much like unknown and there's so much like gray area that's still like getting figured out. And so just I don't know, I guess time will only tell how things will continue to evolve with that. But
I feel like through sponsorships too, it gives the athletes like a lot of exposure to like maybe starting their own business like after their career and things like that. And like I was thinking about like I wear Jordans like almost every day and it's like that's become such a huge thing and like all because he was sponsored by somebody, you know? And like in class the other day, like our teacher made the joke to Ace about like his fork and how he like should how he should like start like a like wooden fork like toothpick meets like fork like brand. And he's like, "Oh, like that would be cool or like whatever." Just like thinking like outside of like instead of sport being like your whole living, like you can also get exposure from that and like almost have like a backup plan because like people do get old and like they can't play sports forever, you know?
Yeah. And I think social media is like helping so much with like the fast pace of everything because athletes no longer like need like PR companies to really like take full control over everything. They now like post directly to their fans on social media, and it's just caused like it to grow so much and so rapidly. And I think social media, as it's changing, it's going to change literally every aspect of the sports world, from reporting to athletes to fans. It's just we see it now, but it's just going to be constantly changing. Yeah. And I feel like with the new introduction of like, especially with like NIL, like I think it does have like its pros and cons. Like I just think about like I remember I took this one class last semester, and it was kind of all about like NIL, and we actually met with someone that was worked with the freshmen of the college football team, and it was basically just like his role in this position is to kind of be like their like advisor. And he kind of just talked about how, you know, some you get this huge amount of money
and it's like he's like basically like his role is to like teach them how to save it, how to, what they should invest in, all that stuff. And I think that's such like a valuable lesson because I think like if, just like for me example, like if I got a huge amount of money, I would be very overwhelmed with and I wouldn't really know what to do. And I feel like that would be super helpful with that. And I thought that was really interesting because I think, when it comes to like you get this a large amount of money, like obviously you want to spend it and like get the nice things and everything. And I think it's really good that Clemson specifically, I don't know for like the other teams like Headley, I don't know if you can talk about it, but I know for like at least like the football team, he talked about how they're really trying to continue to have the mentality of what it was like before NIL. And kind of just this idea of okay, now that you have these resources, how you should use them, but also don't let the resources get into your head, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it, like you said, it's crazy and it's continuing to evolve, but at the same time, like it is really cool that they provide those resources. I know they do that like at a lot of other places, but I think it is really important because you give an 18-year-old kid a couple $100,000 or however much it would be. And they're like, oh, shoot, let me go buy a car. Let me go buy whatever. And where obviously, if they want to do something like that, then that's their choice. But at the same time, I think just it's really important to that they know like how much money that how much that can just like dwindle in an instant and like you play a sport for until you're how I don't know, say he stops playing in college and he's 25. Well, how do you make that money last when you're 25 all the way till you die? You know what I mean? And so I think it's just really important to like that we have these resources to, help athletes kind of realize, I mean, yes, it's cool to do something nice for yourself if you get that amount of money, but at the same time, how can we teach these athletes to invest and save their money so that it can last them a lot longer? I might be getting into like kind of another topic, but I feel like you can kind of talk about NIL and that kind of stuff in so many different ways, and you can, I mean, there's just so many aspects to it that's crazy, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I
I
think
get
with
what you're
NIL,
saying. Sorry, no, Avery, you go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say like with NIL, it's like name, image, likeness, so it's like the whole person. And
Mhm.
so like even in that, like educating them about how to like steward that well, but also like how to represent themselves well and how to represent like their because they're not just representing like this brand that they're partnering with, they're representing their team and like their future self as well, because that's gonna be on the internet forever. And so like even in that, like teaching kids like how like they may not have a PR team that's there to like help them through all that, but just teaching them like how they should represent themselves, what they should filter out, what they shouldn't filter out, things like that, I think is going to be super important too.
All I was gonna say was I thought that a good connection from what we were talking about from this week to our last episode was that we kind of talked a lot about just with our interview and in general, just kind of how social media is tough for athletes, especially the scrutiny that they go through online. And I think when we're talking about sponsorship, this is the exact like opposite side of the coin. Like these kids are getting the opportunity to get paid to post like an Instagram post, which is a really great opportunity. And I think that's where, if you are a student athlete, that's where you should kind of get, that's the good side of it. And you should get your money while you can, while you're facing the scrutiny of being an athlete. I feel like that's a good connection from last week and this week. Are we done?
Um,
I mean, we can cut that out, but like,
no,
Yeah,
I think that's good. I just don't like,
is
Yeah, I
that,
don't.
did you know how much time that was?
This is like, um, I think it's been like 9 minutes.
All
okay.
right, let's keep it going.
Yeah.
We could ask this would you rather question that I don't know who did that, like whoever put that on there.
I'll ask because
Um,
I need to make up for last week.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Should I answer too, or should I ask y'all and then I'll answer later? Because are we all going to go around and
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel
I'll
like
ask.
it'll all build
I
off of
say,
each other.
yeah.
Okay. Uh, okay. So would you rather have 10,000 engaged followers or 100,000 random followers?
I could see this both ways. Like if you had 10,000 engaged followers, you'd feel like hyped up all the time. So it's like, oh, you post one thing, it's getting like 10,000 likes, 10,000 comments. Like that would be super like empowering, I guess. But also if you just had like 100,000 random people who like maybe they interacted sometimes or they didn't, like I think a lot of like the NIL opportunities we were talking about earlier with like social media, they're gonna look at like how many followers you have because it's gonna be like how many people you can reach versus like how many people are liking and commenting, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, kind of similar to what you said. I feel like if you're kind of representing yourself and maybe you're trying to get like deals or posts and things like that, a lot of times they base it off of your followers, which is kind of weird because you would think it would be like how many views you have. Because sometimes you can have like a ton of views on a lot of your videos, but not a lot of followers. But a lot of times brands will literally be like, okay, if you have this many followers, you can get this much money for a post or like go down the line. And so I don't know. I guess it just depends like on what your goal is for that because like I said, if you have 100,000 followers, you may be getting more opportunities, but you're not going to be making as much money with just the random followers. If you have more engagement, that's where you like get your money because I think like TikTok pays per view, I think. So like if you have engagement, I feel like you make more money, but I don't know. It could go
Yeah.
both ways.
I feel like it's hard, like especially with like social media today, like especially with like the packages that you can buy, like having like exclusive content for followers, like if you pay money, I feel like that's kind of hard to like throw into the mix. I know for me personally, like I think I would do the like just having like a smaller community, but it's people that actually care. Like if I was an athlete,
Hmm.
like I would want it to be like a good community. I feel like something that like not like frustrates me, but I just think that sometimes people just like athletes or just like influencers or people in general, they just post stuff to make the money for it. And I think that's something that's really hard with this day and age is you're not really sure like, oh, like do they really truly like this product or are they just trying to promote it and get a buck? If that
Yeah.
makes sense. So I think it's like hard, especially in this day and age, just because a lot of people it is kind of just about like the money aspect, I feel like. So
Yeah, and to like go off what you're saying, I think we you can kind of see on TikTok like when like influencers will post like their sponsorship stuff, the likes and the views have gone down so much
Mm.
because nobody cares because they're so it's so like overdone and everyone's really just tired of it. And so I think that comes with like the randomness and like people who just like are scrolling through or like following you just to follow you, they don't like care about anything that you're posting, but there's like 1,000 people that are liking the sponsorship or like the engaged ones and they care about what you like as the influencer. And I think like in sports that like makes a difference, especially if like you're in NIL stuff, then you want to sell that thing so you can like make more money. So your engaged followers will provide that for you. So I think as an athlete and as someone as like in a business aspect, I think 10,000 engaged followers would probably be better than 100 random.
Yeah, I guess I didn't like say which one I would, but I would do the 10K also. I was gonna say, when I like scroll on TikTok or on Instagram and all I see is like TikTok shop, I get so mad like because I know it's like fake because I know like you get commission from that and I know you're only posting it so you can make money. I like when I go on like a smaller creator, it doesn't even have to be an athlete, it can be an influencer or an athlete, and I see something that I like and then you can go and like find their link for it. It's not like they're I mean, obviously they make money off of it, but like it's more like genuine to me. It's like they're just posting it because they actually like the product and you're yeah, I don't know. I just hate when I see the TikTok shop. Like I just scroll so fast. It makes me so mad. But I guess like Megan said, people are going to do whatever they can to get the buck. But
Yeah. And I feel like that's like what I like is I think it's important to realize that like the athlete or or the influencer, like it's their brand and like how they promote it, I feel like is very telling with how they feel about, social media and their fans and like their community.
Yeah, I think from the would you rather, I think it kind of depends on its like engagement versus viewership. I mean, obviously 100,000 followers or more people are going to see it. It's going to come up on their page. So that's it kind of depends on what you're going for with your deal. And I know in the sports business, there's a lot of different things. Like we talked about, they're talking about the TikTok shop and you can get commission off of sales or you might just be going off of, I know Hadley spoke to like, they might just be giving you a deal based off your followers. And who knows what the threshold is for different athletes. I mean, 100,000 to me seems like a lot of followers. I think like 20,000, 50,000, but who knows? I feel like it just really depends on your deal. And I don't know what these college athletes are getting offered. And I feel like that's part of it being such a new thing. Like there'll probably be a lot of new opportunities too.
it's crazy that like you said, we don't know how much people get paid for posts, but when you see like the really big college athletes, like the really popular like players from each sport, and you kind of see maybe like on ESPN or whatever, they're getting paid this much. I think it was Arch Manning, I think they said that he gets paid like they're getting paid more from endorsements than they are from the actual like I don't know, the new revenue share or whatever the schools can now pay the athletes, but the athletes are making more money from endorsements than they are from the schools that are allowed to pay them now. And so it's just crazy to me that like they don't really need these colleges anymore. Like they don't need to be a part of the college team. Like they can make more money not being like they can make more money off of endorsements. And that's just what's crazy to me now is that like yes, the NIL and everything as like NIL as a college athlete, but like they can make that same money if not more not being an athlete. Like as when they're done being an athlete, they have such a big platform that they can continue to make that much money just because of their audience. So it's just crazy how now it's like it started, I guess, not really started, but like kind of started as being an athlete and they can make money because they're an athlete, but now because of their name, they are just that person. Like they're their own brand, so they don't have to be associated with their sport or with that school. So it's just crazy how like NIL is just transforming literally everything and it's continuing to be even bigger and just changing everything.
I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if like in the next couple years, like high school athletes are like gonna become more like popular for like endorsements and sponsorships and things, and that even like determine what school they go to based on who they're partnered with. I think like honestly, sports are getting a little bit more political in that way of like, where can I get paid? Where am I going to get the most like sponsorships? Like, what's going to be the most like well known for me to get like out there and on the map? Like, you looked at like, in the national championship, like both of the quarterbacks were transfers to those schools. Like they're transferring to the schools that they know that they're going to win at so that then they can get more sponsorships so that then they can get more views to make more money.
Yeah. I feel like that's such like the sad part of like college sports these day and age that it's kind of taken away from like the fun of the game and it's more just about like how much money I can get or what school do I go like what school will offer me the most money like especially like with like Carson Beck like him going to Miami instead of going to the NFL like personally that's a little questionable in my opinion but I think it kind of just is starting to also kind of affect like the value of college sports and I think it's also kind of taking the purpose away of yeah, like you it's I think NIL is great, but I also think that now that like you're making as much as some of these NFL players are, it's kind of like where do you draw that line of like which I don't know, but like I just feel like it's like where you draw the line of like paying these college athletes versus the NFL players and stuff like that.
I agree. I think the issue is the transfer portal. I don't think it's necessarily like how much they can get paid because I think that's great. Like I think make as much money as you can. I mean, but I think the portal has really ruined a lot of things. Like now in pretty much any sport, like it's not even just big sports like football, but um people are just leaving like literally every year. Every team is like a whole new team each year, and it's taken away from like the tradition of coming to a school as a freshman and being developed all the way until your senior year. Well, now we're just like, oh, I'm not getting a lot of playing time or I'm not making enough money. I'm gonna go somewhere else and get more money, which I think the portal is a great thing. I personally transferred and I'm so glad that I did and I'm so glad I'm here at Clemson. But I think there needs to be more like rules to where you're not able to transfer every single year because I think it is just ruining so much. And not only is it ruining it for teams as a whole, it's ruining it for high school kids as well. And I know we're kind of getting into like a whole nother thing, um but at the end of the day, going into like NIL with that too, as well as the transfer portal and NIL, it's taking away from like smaller schools also. Like it's completely separating like Power Four to mid-major. To me, I think that it's going to be completely different divisions like at some point because there's such a separation and it's just going to continue to be separating. The big schools are just going to keep getting more money and paying like getting all the best recruits because they're able to pay them and then they're not going to be able to the mid majors aren't even going to be able to compete. So like now we're probably not going to see as many mid-major schools in like the big tournaments beating these Power Four schools just because of the NIL separation. I mean, we could talk about this for days, but it is just crazy how NIL and the transfer portal has changed like everything. And it's honestly sad. I wish there was more rules on like the portal where there used to be, but there's not anymore, and it's kind of gotten out of control. But
I think that's a good stopping point. Okay. I'm gonna pause it and text my sister and tell her to hop on.
yeah.
All right, today's guest is someone very, very special to me, not just because she's an incredible athlete, but because she's my twin sister. Abbi Campbell is a junior outfielder for Wofford College softball. Last season, Abbi started all 50 games in center field, recording 30 hits, 10 runs, 13 RBIs, and went 11 for 11 on stolen bases with a 328 on base percentage for the season. She's from good old Piedmont, South Carolina, where she built a standout high school career that ultimately led her to compete at the Division I level. I can personally attest to her competitiveness and how much work she has put in to get to this point. Abbi, welcome to Triple T's.
Yes, thank you so
Hey.
much for having me. I'm excited to share my experience with you guys.
Yes, we're excited for you to be on.
Yeah, thank you, Abby, again. I know we just thanked you, but just want to say it personally. And if you could just start off, can you tell us a little bit about your journey going to Wofford and just starting off playing softball as a kid and what it's looked like for you and how you've gotten to there?
Yeah, so obviously growing up, like I was always surrounded by athletics and our parents very much pushed us. And I really got interested when my sisters, older, even Anna Kate, started playing. And then I was like, oh, I'll try it out. And it's just something that I fell in love with. And then I pursued it on just a regular level. And then I was like, I really love it. So then I went to a more competitive level through travel ball and then still went through it in high school and then travel ball allowed the doors to open for me for Wofford and other doors through Wofford. So yeah, that's how I got into it. And honestly, being something that you love just really like made a testament for me like pursuing it in a Division I level.
Okay,
Yeah, so
cool.
oh, sorry.
They're good. I was just saying that's cool.
Um, so what do you think? Sorry.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. Okay. So what would you say that like your biggest adjustment was from kind of high school and travel ball to college? Because obviously it's a completely different level. So what do you think kind of was the biggest adjustment for you in that process?
Yeah, the biggest adjustment I would say was definitely time management between lifts classes, practices, something doing that every single day and figuring out how to like work my time the best I could with the hours that I did have available. And also like the competitiveness aspect is on a whole different level. Like travel ball, you don't have as many like responsibilities. You're just there to play. And when you come to college, there's like extra pressure added that you have to figure out how to deal with.
For sure.
Yeah. And just to like, I'm just gonna add like when like I feel like when you play travel ball, like it's like so different than like because you're paying to and spending all this money to be recruited, and then you're recruited, and then it's like, oh wow, this is like on a whole different level. And I know that's just like a whole like different
Yeah.
thing, and it's really a lot and crazy. I mean, there was never a summer that you were home. So
Nope.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
Like Anna Kate said, you said that she said that you spent a lot of time traveling across the country for tournaments, and now you've given up your entire spring semester to the season. What do you think is like the levels of sacrifice required for you personally, mentally, and also like emotionally to like get through, the hard, like if you had hard times or just anything like that?
Yeah, a lot of the sacrifices like you see like people who like through travel ball they have their summers and you're stuck playing a sport, but like it's the mindset of realizing like you're also gaining instead of losing. You're also being able to go places that you wouldn't necessarily be able to go without the sport. And then emotionally it does take a toll on being able to handle like tough situations. And I feel like that allows you to grow as a person as well. That some people may never experience how to deal with hard times that young of an age. And yeah, that feel like that goes along mentally and then like physically, it does take a toll on your body. But knowing the right steps and like taking care of yourself, like going to like if you need to see the trainer for something, if you need to take an ice bath, like knowing how to handle those type of situations.
And I have to ask, since you said that like travel ball has like been able to get you've been able to travel a lot, like do you have like a favorite, place that you visit or a favorite tournament memory or it could be through travel ball college, just anything that like really stood out for you and was like that like you had a good time.
Yeah, I think my favorite tournaments were when we got to go to California and play. Like I probably never would have been able to go and experience California. We like when we go there, you had like a whole day to yourself to go explore. And, like we would go to the beaches, we would go to Hollywood, just like experience the life. And like I said, I don't think I would have ever been able to do that without.
So thank you.
Of course.
Abby, you should tell the story about Colorado. Was it Colorado that
Oh
the
yes.
guy?
Yeah, so we played in Colorado and the fields like the complexes were very open and there was this man who just like started walking around the fields and he was a homeless man and he would like walk up to the fences, start banging on the fences, just yelling strike ball, not really like understanding what's going on, just being up there. And then like our dads, like a bunch of the team dads would have to like sit there and like we would warm up because there wasn't a lot of room to warm up, so we'd like warm up right in between fields and like he could openly walk through. So like a bunch of the team dads would like just stand there and like make sure he wasn't messing with any of us because it honestly scared some of us. We're in high school, not really knowing how to deal with situations like that.
Did you talk about the Birkenstock there?
Oh yeah, I had a pair of like Birkenstock slides. Yeah, I went back to put them on after our game and he stole them. So yeah. He would also like take food out of the trash can, drinks, drink it. Yeah, it was really interesting.
Wow.
I hope you got a new pair of Birkenstocks.
I
I was
know.
sad.
I was sad.
Well,
It sounds
Abby,
like you've had a lot of,
go ahead.
oh, sorry.
No,
No, I was
go
gonna go
ahead.
into the next question. So if you have something else to add to this one, like go for it.
Well, I was gonna say like Abby, I didn't know if I told you, but Hadley plays on the basketball team, and so
Oh my God.
And she told me in class that she played softball for like a little bit. And I was like, oh my God, did we ever run into her? And so she
No.
That is
no.
a that is crazy.
Yes, small world.
Fortunately, I was not on no travel softball team. I was on the high school and I was a pinch runner.
Oh
So,
yeah. Which
oh,
one of
funny
our
story.
Wofford basketball players transferred to Clemson?
Yeah, Rachel Rose.
Yes.
Yes, love her.
Oh.
Okay, I'll go into the next one. But it sounds like you've had a lot of like fun, like and just like random things happen. I really liked what you said earlier about like you have to have the mindset of like gaining things and not that you're like losing things. But are there any things that were like super hard to make peace with missing out on, or like you wish you had more time to dedicate to certain things? And then how do you make peace with those things?
Yeah, I think a lot like through travel ball, I had to like very much like make peace with like seeing my friends like go experience and have like so much fun over like summers, taking trips and like understanding that those friends like are still going to be my friends when they get back and I'm not losing a friendship and I'm still have that friendship and we're just on two different paths right now, but like we're still going to be friends after the fact. And then through college, um, I would say a lot of it has to do with like my major. I'm a bio major and my a lot of like internship hours that a lot of people come into college with, I wasn't able to experience and get. So knowing to take advantage of the time I do have and like getting my internship hours, volunteer hours, and even if like I do have to take a gap year, I still am on track to where I want to be.
Yeah, how do you balance? I don't know how it is at Wofford, but like bio here is like a pretty hard major. How do you balance like your time between like working on your major and then all the time you spend in softball?
It is a heavy course load being a bio major here, especially with an athlete. It's not like something that is praised, but like I knew I wanted to do it coming in, so I like stuck to it. Honestly, our fall is our lightest, so we try and go heavy on like labs or heavy classes, and then the spring we have an off day every week and we try and make our labs that day and then like try and work our class schedule where we're still in the hours, but our class load isn't going to be too heavy.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm a student athlete as well. And for you to be a bio major, I have a lot of respect for you because I'm a communication major and I have a hard time as my with my major
Yeah.
doing balancing course load and all of that, as well as playing my sport. But for you to be bio is crazy and kudos to
Yeah.
you that's great. Like
Yes.
you go, girl. But
Thank
anyway,
you.
Do
I
you,
was
oh,
go ahead.
I was just asking, like, do you have like any of like other teammates or like any other athletes that are in like the bio field that like you can kind of lean on if like you ever are going like if it's like ever too much or like just like having those like comfort people that like help you get through like the hard times.
Yeah, the majority of our team, I would say, are like bio majors, and then we have like one chemistry major, which bless her, I can never do that. And then like a few business and a few like smaller things like that. Like we've had people who did education, but just knowing that a lot of people are going through the same thing, and like a lot of times we have a bunch of athletes in each classes, so we try and like help each other out when it comes to like assignments and stuff and like especially teammates like working through things together to make it easier on each other.
Yeah. So with your journey, I guess, to collegiate athletics as well as like your journey in collegiate athletics, how has your family support shaped your confidence and your resilience like throughout your whole career? I guess you could talk about college or before, whichever one.
Yeah, I think my family was like the biggest like thing I've always leaned on, especially because my parents they always pushed us, and especially knowing my parents were the ones who never like sugarcoated anything. Like they, if like we were to make a mistake or messed up, they like would hold us accountable, which also helped us hold ourselves accountable. Which I feel like that is a great thing for an athlete because you have to be able to hold yourself accountable and like move on to the next thing as quickly as you can. And I feel like leaning on them through hard times as well. Like I'll still talk to my parents every day after practice, just like going over things and like leaning on them. And even like my sisters, like we'll talk about softball, but also it's talking about like anything else. It's like separating the athlete from the person.
That's awesome.
Abby, we were thinking we've been talking a lot about how you've been balancing stuff like this bio class and then you're dealing with, obviously I'm a business major, so bio already is a lot. But then, just dealing with softball, being just a person in general too in college. What is your support system like, especially being an athlete, with your teams, your coaches, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I feel like our like we really lean on like teammates especially and like cuz we like our team here like we've built like a very good culture of like a family first and then like our coaches like they let us know like their doors are always open like if we have to go talk to them they're always welcoming and it's always going to be a good conversation if you need to have one with them.
Okay, cool.
We were talking also today, like about like social media, like recruiting and NIL and stuff. I know you mentioned that a little bit to you earlier, but how do you approach like social media as a college athlete? I know Wofford's like kind of small, but I'm sure you're still like trying to promote through there. So how do you do that?
Yeah, so through social media a lot of it is like our team is like our accounts are like very run like through I think like we have a person who's like on deck for like social media stuff, but like a lot of us like post like what we want our and I stuff for NIL. It's really like you have a choice if you want to, but being very cautious of like our like school rules and everything. And it is a little bit harder than like being at a bigger school and being able to get a lot of deals, but I feel like that's like the fun in it because you can do smaller deals like that people don't know about and you get to try things out that maybe other people haven't.
Yeah, that's like I was like we were talking about before about NIL and stuff, and it's like
Mhm.
way over my head. I like think
Yeah.
that is like a crazy world and it's just continuing to change. But on the other side of it, of just social media in general, like when you're being like recruited now that you're in college, um, like the pressure to present yourself a certain way online, not only like as an athlete, but like just I feel like being in your 20s, like it's so hard. But being an athlete on top of that, it is a whole nother level. So how do you like do you ever feel that pressure and how do you like navigate that?
Yeah, no, especially through recruiting and everything, like everything you were posting was being watched. You had to be very mindful of like what you posted. Like if you were to post this, would you want like a little kid like one day to like look at it and be like, "Oh, this is the person who like played college softball, who I looked up to," like being very mindful of an outside perspective looking in. And there is like pressure like going through and posting things and like you nitpick photos, you nitpick certain things, but I feel like it gets a little easier as you get older because you're so used to doing it from such a like younger age that it just becomes kind of a habit almost.
What kind of role did like social media play in your recruiting process for college? Like, I know a lot of my friends my senior year who were trying to get recruited for like volleyball and basketball stuff, like they would create accounts like just dedicated to that where they would like DM coaches and things like that. So what did that
Yeah,
look like for you?
Um, I was like the very big thing for stuff I think was Twitter, like posting on Twitter. You tag a bunch of coaches and hopefully they look at you, but also like being presentable at a camp, showing up at a camp, and then also following up a camp with like a post or like if you did good at like tournaments, putting it online and like posting it and tagging coaches in it, just like trying to reach out to get them to notice something about you so that you stand out to them.
Um, Kind of going off of that, I think with as an athlete, like with you using social media, like how do you think like you specifically use your platform to kind of, raise awareness and attention for, your games or certain like things that you care about to like build connections through your social media that can like transfer into the softball, like going to a softball game or something like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we always like all of our teammates and everything like try and like post about our games because you never know who's gonna see it, and also like getting it out there through like the school stuff, and maybe professors will come because if a professor comes notice you, then you can have a conversation, and that can lead through like so many different like paths that can open up futures for you. And I feel like just using your platform as like a light for like awarenesses that you like strongly believe. Like one of our teammates, she had thyroid cancer, and we were able to like share her story for Wofford through our platforms, and that also will bring in like other people to like see Wofford and like see how we are like cherishing our player and not just like pushing it to the side and like not noticing it.
That's so awesome. Okay. And then this is our final question for you. So, what is one piece of advice you give to younger athletes who want to, make it to the collegiate level, or maybe just like tips on tricks on like recruitment and like kind of like what you went through to end up where you are today?
Yeah, I would say don't let performances or like softball be what defines you. Like, know your worth and what you want to do in life and who you are, and like just let softball be like something you do. Like, it's something you love so much that you want to spend time doing, but don't let it take over you fully, because I've been a person who I have let it like fully taken over me, and like coming out of that has been such a bigger and like better thing in life. And then trip tips on recruiting: reach out, be presentable, like go to these camps, like make yourself known, and not and if you go to a place, not every place is meant for you, but everybody has a place where they can belong.
That was such a great, I feel like that's such like a great way to like kind of close like, because I feel like with recruitment, like I known from like people from my high school, it was such a stressful time. And I think it's important to like focus on the good and like what's
Mhm.
happening right now rather than worry about, where you're gonna end up. Because I feel like in the end, everything
Yeah.
everything
Yeah,
always works out.
yeah, because it can be very stressful because especially if you get late in recruiting, you're like, oh no, like, am I even good enough? Like, am I gonna find my place? But it'll fall into your lap when it's supposed to. Like, I definitely went through the struggles of like, am I good enough? Am I too late in my recruiting? And then the door just opened. I came here on a visit, fell in love with the atmosphere, fell in love with the idea of starting a program here. And it was just perfect, and it worked out amazingly.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
being on with us. We really
Or, of
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Abby.
Thank
course.
you.
Yes. It was so good. I feel like it was just you just gave such good advice, and your stories are very inspirational for our fellow softball aspiration collegiate athletes.
Yeah, no, my brother, he's trying to get recruited for soccer right now. So I'm going to take some of that information and pass it along too.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Well, if you want to say the outro part and then
Okay.
I'll stop recording.
All right. So today we talked about Abby's journey as a collegiate athlete, the challenges that she's faced, and the role that her outside support plays in her success, as well as the lessons that she learned along the way. So if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow, leave a review, and share with someone who loves sports, leadership, athletes' journeys, Wofford, Clemson. Um, but for now, this has been Triple T's Tiger Town Talks.